Hello, back we are again for the second time in the commentary box.
Yeah, Rex, 2 in 1 week. People might start talking about what we're doing. Everything's good though. I think we put this one together in short time, so I think it's...
and rightly so, because the timing is good.
Exactly.
Our guest today then is a gentleman who is raising awareness for motor neurone disease on Saturday. He is cycling for 12 hours at Al Qudra in the desert, and we'll ask him a little bit more about that in a minute. He's also from a family that are about 4 or 5 generations in Scotland. He's going to tell you a bit more about as well. And his name is Sandy Stirling. Welcome, Sandy.
Good evening, gents.
Great to see you, Sandy.
Been watching you guys for a few weeks now and delighted to be here. Thank you.
Well, it's great to see you, Sandy, and you certainly look a little bit different to when I last saw you, probably 5 or 6 months ago. What have you been doing?
Losing 16 kilos to start with. I decided going back to September that I needed to give myself a little bit of a challenge. Obviously, we've been challenging times of COVID. And I ended up phoning up a colleague of mine who had done Ironmans before and said, listen, I need to inspire myself. I have this idea. And he said, what are you thinking? And I said, well, I'm thinking of getting on my bike for as long as I can. I said, what do you think, 5 months of training? How long do you think I could go? He said, what are you thinking? And I said, well, 24 hours. I said, I've watched Rob Wainwright cycle from Twickenham up to Murrayfield with the match ball pre-Scotland England. And then he was obviously doing that for the Doddy Weir Foundation that Rob's very attached to. And then another friend of mine, Ewan Dowes, who plays for the Joining Jack side, decided that he would ride with the old rugby league captain, forget his name, but for 24 hours in their garages in May.
Wow.
Which was incredible to see. 6 weeks later, he then rode for 30 hours in his garage with 13 others for Rob Burrows, who sadly at 38 also has motor neurons. So they were kind of my inspiration. Mm-hmm. I then thought to myself, well, I'm being a bit silly for 24 hours. Woke up the next morning and thought, well, I did 4 in South Africa previously at the Cape Argus the year before, which was the first time I'd been on a bike since I was a child, pretty much. And thought, well, let's do 12 and let's challenge myself and push myself. And took on a friend of yours in David Labouchere, who's been training me, and David's been excellent. Trained with some of the Ironman people that he's been training. And slowly but surely, even though I had to go through Christmas and New Year, the weight has disappeared. And
then some. I mean, your head seems twice as big as it was before, and your shoulders are a wee bit smaller, but it's still Sandy there. And as I said earlier on, I think we just couldn't believe it when you walked through the door, and it was a spontaneous applause almost. So you've done very well. And
also for everybody that doesn't know, outside UAE, Al Qudra, where is it, and what are you biking in the desert, or what's the story?
So basically, there's the Al Qudra track. The main track is 50 kilometers.
Yeah.
So my challenge is to start at Zad's, which is one of the little coffee shops there, and I will just keep doing loops and loops around. So it allows people to come and join if people want to come and join on the day. But at the moment, we have about 100 people coming to join me. I start at 4 a.m.
4 a.m.
So
on Saturday.
On Saturday.
Saturday morning,
So I'm past my bedtime already. Mm-hmm. It's weird. I'm putting down my 3-year-old son at 7:30, and I know in the next few days that's when I'm going to bed too. It starts at 4 o'clock in the morning, hoping that my lights work on my bike. And it's 4 to 4. Unfortunately, it looks as though we're going to have a challenging day because they are predicting serious winds.
I saw a bit of wind.
A bit of a dust storm coming in.
Imagine 7 people turning up on Saturday, Sunday.
That'll make it a very, very long day. But listen, I was speaking to my mum the other night, and it's still going to be 12 hours regardless of what I'm doing. And as I said to my mum, motor neurons people go through a hell of a lot worse. And for 12 hours, I'm sure I can put up with that.
Would you like to tell us about why you're doing this in the background for I think, a variety of reasons.
Yeah, do you know what? It's bizarre. There's two sort of main parts to it. I'm writing on behalf of raising awareness for the Ewan MacDonald Research Centre in Edinburgh. It's very close to me because Ewan was at school with me, who actually got motor neurons at 28. Ewan is now 47. He's still alive. I speak to him over Facebook. Ewan has technology on his eyeball that allows him to do predictive text. And he and his father have created this research centre that's attached to Edinburgh University. And they're one of the leading research into motor neurons. Now, unfortunately, 6 years ago, my dad, at the age of 79, was diagnosed with motor neurons. And he fought, my dad being an old Scottish farmer, to get it at that age was pretty rare, and my father had it for 4 years and sadly passed 2 years ago. So it'll actually be his second anniversary on the 9th of March, hence my timing of what I'm doing. But, you know, I one of the events that I ran back in Edinburgh a few years back, Doddy just announced at that point in time when he was in New Zealand that he had motor neurons. So I've met Doddy. He's an amazing personality. He's now raised over £7 million. In fact, I think he's just added another $1 million to that in January. Obviously, Rob Burrows, the rugby league guy, has got it. And unfortunately, motor neurons is appearing more and more. But in comparison to the likes of the cancers that are out there, it gets very little funding. I mean, to give you the best example, my father, when he was diagnosed, was given a pill that was the same pill that were given to people for 20 years. And that's how little the advancement into finding a cure. I mean, quite simply, if you're diagnosed with motor neurons, it is a death sentence, sadly. Normally, you're given 1 to 2 years survival. Doddy has been fantastic. Doddy, I think, is now about 4.5 years. My father was 4 years. I know from what I've seen of Rob Burrows, unfortunately for him, it's been a dramatic change in him over a year, from somebody who just retired from playing rugby league at 38, which is very sad. You know, the whole motor neurons awareness is just, for me, it's, and I've been very fortunate in the support that I've been getting, not just from people who are coming out in the day, but a lot of connections from back home.
Oh, you've had some fantastic support, and some of the videos that are still to come through, you're almost like saving the best till last. I mean, I wish really you could have asked us earlier, because we would have gone all out to have got the Crankies, and maybe the few left from Basie Girolles as well.
And maybe you could have got Val Kilmer if we'd known earlier.
Should have got Val,
but no, the videos have been great, really good.
No, and you've got some more people coming on, which is great. And we've been privy to some of that. That's amazing. I'm amazed that in the rugby fraternity there have been so many people that have had it, because we didn't talk about Joos van der Westhuizen as well. And in fact, I think that was probably the first time I was really aware of it. Didn't even know that Stephen Hawking had the same thing. And he was one of the guys that survived for a very long time. But there's obviously so little known about it. So you're doing a great thing, Sandy.
Yeah. Listen, the guys, in all honesty, they would be massively supportive. Is initially I reached out to Willie Allen, and I know John Allen. John played for Scotland and for South Africa, and obviously they both played. John played with Joos. And I've had videos, you know, from his teammates, you know, Mark Andrews, Andre Joubert, Joe Stransky. Straight away they've come in support, because last week, had he still been alive, it would have been Joos' 50th birthday. And it is, as I say, a terrible shame, because the illness, the way that it attacks the body, is the brain is 100%. You're 100% alert. You know, when I speak with Ewan's still got a sense of humour, still got everything, but all that happens is your nerve ends slowly disappear, and eventually gets to the point, sadly, where people pass from it. But Ewan has 24-hour, 7 days a week care, and is still going. It's amazing, and he's such an inspiration as well.
And we don't know what triggers it. It attacks the central nervous system, does it?
Yeah, they don't know what causes it. I mean, and with my dad did have a really bad fall a few years before, where he passed out and hit the corner of a paving stone on the side of his head. Whether it was related to that, we don't know. And in all honesty, because there's so little breakthroughs, they don't actually know. Because I'm parts of the various motor neurons groups, it's very random what comes out. Yes, it has impacted some sports stars. We all look at it as potential head knocks, but now because of dementia and Parkinson's, whether it be footballers heading balls or rugby players, we're obviously, the topics of sendings off in the Six Nations over the way that people are tackling. Just because of the size of people, we've just got to protect people more if we can. It may be the cause at this point in time they don't know, and that's the problem, is there hasn't really been that many breakthroughs to give it sort of direction of what's actually causing it.
So apart from what you're doing, which is amazing, what else is needed? What can people do?
In what way?
Well, in learning more about it and understanding it and giving it more focus than obviously what it's not getting at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the whole thing that I'm doing around it is just raising awareness. I mean, as I say, the support and the videos that are to come have been incredible. Emotional. There'll be a tearjerker come on Friday night without a doubt, and I hope it inspires people.
Sure.
The problem is, as I say, because it's so few that are affected, this is the hard part, is it's not just the individuals, it's the families. It's what the families and the people around that have to go through it. That's where the hard part comes in. And I think for me, the group that I'm cycling with, a lot of the guys have been reposting. Yeah. I mean, the views I've already had on LinkedIn is over 70 to 80,000 people.
Really?
Wow, that's
watching the videos, which has been amazing. And it's so, what people don't realise is there's so little that you do can mean so much to more people.
Sure.
And my big hope, with what I've been doing, is there's so many people in our industry, within the construction industry, who've been inspired to join me, to get fit. And the more that people can do around, not just motor neurons, there's so many families are affected by different things, is, to be blunt, get off your butt, get out there and do the likes of things that I'm doing, because it actually is helping so many people. But it's also great for the people who are suffering to see that people are trying to help.
Yeah, right.
And I think if other people can get involved and come and join me on Saturday, it's very welcome to anyone. Then fantastic.
So Saturday 4 a.m, or if you decide to have a bit of a sleep in, you can join at 8 or 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then cycle through till 4 p.m.
Yeah. So you're hoping to do around about every 2 hours?
So weather depending.
Yes.
Weather depending. If the weather was okay and the wind wasn't up too much, then I would be coming in about every hour and 45 minutes. I would have been looking to do 300 to 350 kilometres over that period. But as I say, the winds are looking pretty strong on the day. So one half of the cycle would be amazing, because I'll be getting blown along. I might wear one of these aerodynamic suits to get me even faster. But then the challenge, the nice thing is I'm going to have people around me.
You're going to have a buffer around you.
So I'll be able to draft. Yeah. And all the training, all the big cycles I've done so far, I've been doing on my own, so that I'm mentally prepared for dealing with the wind, knowing that come Saturday, I'm going to have a protecting shield around me.
Yeah,
exactly.
And, mentally and physically.
Yes.
So is it you're going to be going out in one pack, or is it going to be groups that are going out, or?
So basically, all I will keep doing is a 50-kilometre loop. I will come in to refuel with water, with food, whatever. Stop for 5 minutes, stretch the legs, get the shoes off, and then if people are there, they then come and join me for the next loop, and I just keep popping in and keep doing that. In all honesty, it's quite interesting. There's another guy who didn't want to come out on the bike. He's a few years older. He'll hate me for saying that. But another Scotsman by the name of Campbell Steedman. And Campbell's actually walking.
For 12 hours.
For 12 hours. So he is also going to be on the track, starting off at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'll wave to him every time I go past him. We're organising food and water drop-offs for him as he goes around the track, because I don't want him carrying he's ex-military. I don't want him carrying an extra huge pack to last. But he's actually walking around the track for 12 hours. So
is Campbell open to friends to join him on his walk, or is he a bit of a loner?
Do you know what? He is. I think the issue is that people, one of his friends reached out and said, I'll join you at 8 o'clock. Campbell has no clue where he'll be on the track at that point in time. For people to come out. So,
and poor old Campbell, if he completes a round with half an hour to go, is he going to have to finish that round? I mean, because I'll hold him to it.
Yeah.
So he last weekend he did 6 hours and 36 kilometers. So I think what he'll do is carry on walking and then double back, knowing what his time was. So he's back around the same time.
Campbell, if you're listening, you're a splitter, mate.
Exactly.
I do know him. So.
Yeah.
And
Shout out to
when
Campbell.
you talk about army and everything, he was spending a lot of time. He's very fond and passionate man in the TA. So when you're talking about bringing your sandwiches, they're known as the cut lunch commandos. So that's perfect.
Do you know what? He'll hate me for saying this, but Campbell listens to his music and he listens to marching music. Most people, might be AC/DC or Muse, like I will be at some stage in the game, but he listens to marching bands and it keeps him going. It reminds me of his military days, so he just plugs in and off he goes.
Scottish pipe.
I don't know if it'd be Scottish, but there might be a bit in there. But
yeah. Oh, that's great.
Bizarre.
So just to be clear, we've got a WhatsApp group that we'll put on our Instagram, and so people can contact there. If they want to join, they want to get more information, they can hit us on that. And more the merrier.
Yeah. For me, do you know what? It's all about awareness. The more people that get involved, the better for me. The more people who promote it, it's fantastic.
Sure.
It's very close to my heart, as I say, what we talked about earlier on, and it means the world to me. And the videos, just been amazing.
Great.
Okay.